Hi, my name's Preston, and I work at Frictionless Commerce as a conversion optimization specialist.
And my name is Rishi. I am the founder of Frictionless Commerce. Started the company 9 years ago, and I work very closely with Preston.
One of the things that we do is go through multiple iterations of a project to elevate it and make it better and better and better as we keep going through it. And we call this layered conversion rate optimization. So, can you talk about a little bit what that means and how we use it in our process?
Yeah, I think it is. I think it is the killer app. I think it is the thing that actually makes us the best in the world at what we do. So, traditionally, historically, when I first started off, I would essentially get, clients would basically allocate a certain number of hours, and I would say, work on this and find a solution for it. I would do that, and I would present it to them, and that was that. But what we've learned over time, and this is one of the things that, when you've spent over 10,000 hours working on a certain kind of problem, you just start picking up on nuances that the average person simply wouldn't notice. I mean, you just have to put in the hours to kind of get to these insights. So one of the insights that we had was that the idea improves significantly if we can iterate on it. So it's an internal process. It's not something we include the client on. So essentially what happens is that we work in those 2 hour cycles, and we follow the CRO process document, which is the conversion optimization process that we use internally. We do deconstruction. We kind of identify the first version, and the question we're asking ourselves is, how do we know when to stop? So we stop at the point where we are confident that the concept that we've come up with is going to outperform the control. At that point, we package it up internally, and then we send it over to the next team. And the team that is reviewing it is looking at this and is essentially doing the same process again. They're deconstructing it, and they're asking themselves, did we miss anything in this idea? And because we're looking at it with a fresh pair of eyes, we're actually able to quickly identify something that we've missed out. So we then send it back to the first team and say, okay, here are a couple of things that we noticed that we feel we didn't explore enough. Then the first team takes those insights and then kind of amplifies their own idea and then sends it back to the team. So we keep on doing this couple of times. It all depends on what I think is really remarkable, because I think if you look at it from one perspective, it seems like a really inefficient way of using a client's budget. This is the stupidest thing ever. It actually is the best way in which we are adding value for a client, because the last thing you want is to come up with an idea where there are a bunch of things that we hadn't considered just because we wanted to get the idea done. Now we're trying to strike a balance between spending too much time, because we also realize that if something doesn't have a time limit, work is going to expand to fill time, and we'll actually never finish the project at all. So we're aware of that. That's the reason why we work in these 2 hour cycles. But the question is that, is this the best version of the page we could have come up with in a reasonable amount of time? And in most cases, doing just one cycle of it is a shortcut. So we find that doing multiple cycles, typically 2 cycles, doing 2 cycles of the project, it leads to significantly better ideas. And you and I have done this several times. Would you agree that the second cycle invariably, even though we don't expect it to be better, it just magically turns out to be a much
Yeah.
better concept?
Yeah, I mean, we even form our own blind spots after looking at the same page or the same
Yeah.
same detail of a page multiple times. So after we send it off to somebody else with a even fresher pair of eyes, we
And we
quickly
have
find some new
biases. I
ideas.
mean, I know from conversations you and I have had that of the 16 tactics that we use, you don't use all 16, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you certainly you want to avoid using lead in, you want to avoid using exclusivity, right? And that's natural. It's totally fine. But those biases affect the ideas you're coming up with. And I have other biases. So essentially, basically, by kind of doing the LCRO approach, we are able to overcome those biases, because I'm forcing you to consider something that you naturally wouldn't have considered, and that's why it leads to much better ideas.
Absolutely.